Welcome back. It is the Todd and Jared and the Bear show podcast. One of those is going to stick soon. Welcome back. It is June 2nd. Just had a lovely day, a lovely couple days. Last weekend was Memorial Day. Not so lovely then, but we're kind of in summer mode. I'm very, very, very excited about that. Let's just get right into it. We'll hear from Todd soon enough. I'm not going to give him any time for an intro. I want to talk a little bit about how Dems are hypocrites this week. So my first topic of order is basically, and I don't even know if it's definitely just the Dems. It's hard to even to define who. Everyone's just hypocrites, and everyone kind of blurs lines and mixes lines these days. But I'm going wild about Wuhan lab.
Oh, Jesus.
All of a sudden, might have leaked the virus. It was illegal like 2 months ago to say that. You literally couldn't say that. It would be banned from Facebook. You'd go to Facebook jail. People would look at you like, like that's a horrible thing. You can't say that. I know you can't hate on Asians, and there's no reason ever to hate on Asians. That's ridiculous. But people were saying that there's no relation to China to the virus. Well, it definitely seemed to originate there from bats or not. So there is a relation, but also it seems now that it might have come from the lab, and it's quiet. It's not as big a deal now, and it's like, yo, that's huge news.
Yeah, and I'm happy you brought this up because this has been driving me insane because it's one of those things, the lab leak hypothesis. It's one of those things that when you hear it and when you start looking at the facts of the case in terms of, virology lab in Wuhan, doing gain of function on coronaviruses, all this stuff, it's like, oh, well, it's obviously a possibility. Like,
at least a possibility.
And the thing that was nuts is that so quickly after it was first introduced last year, they started all these scientists and people started coming out and being like, well, this is a conspiracy theory, this is insane, this is debunked. And all I was thinking at the time is, how could you possibly know so quickly where it came from? Whether it came from the wet market, whether it came, and the really disgusting part of it is, and I've actually read some editorials that say this, is that people basically pushed against it and called it a conspiracy theory because Donald Trump and other Republicans were saying it.
Right.
And it's nuts. And I used to jokingly say that if Donald Trump came out with a cure for all cancers, the next day Democrats and left-leaning media would basically be like, Donald Trump creates, exacerbates climate change by increasing the population. Mm-hmm. That would be the angle they would take. They would find some way.
Exactly.
To be like, this is a bad thing.
That just made me think. So within the next episode or two, I gotta converge two of my podcasts into one. You need to meet Jack from the Jack and Jared show. Okay. But our last episode was about how can bad people get credit for good things, and case in point is sometimes, unfortunately, or the reason I think we came up with it is Donald Trump. I don't like Donald Trump. I don't think he's a good guy. I think overall he's a pretty horrible person. For a lot of people, but I do think some of the things he did was good. I'm not going to say that everything he did was bad just because I don't like him. And we kind of were saying how how most people don't give credit to bad people, because they just think that's you can't do that. And it's like, well, look, you can.
And without going off on too much of a tangent, I mean, shoot, just look at World War II when we busted Nazi laboratories and we didn't just take all their scientific records that they got through completely unethical, immoral, and disgusting experiments and burn them and be like, we can't read these. Right. No, we used them.
Right.
Because you know what? Well, as messed up as it is.
Not even records. We took the scientists too.
Well, and the scientists too, Operation Paperclip. And I mean, Werner von Braun was, allegedly a brutal runner of, basically Jewish slave labor. And then he became the face of the rocketry program, was featured on Disney programming, and everyone's just like, just forget about that.
Exactly.
Don't worry about that.
Which I don't know. I'm not for that per se, but it's like, hey, it's maybe that motivates someone else who did something bad before, who wants to change their heart. Like, hey, I can do good now and kind of change. I don't know, but I don't want to go too far off on tangent.
Yeah.
I'm dumbfounded. I don't understand how this Wuhan thing isn't being talked about more, because like that's big news, and not only is it big news, that was huge news that was blanketed and censored. Um,
Yeah.
you weren't allowed to talk about it, and all of a sudden it seems like it might have been true. That's pretty worrisome.
So before we end your segment, gun to your head, you have to pick came from the wild, from the wet market, or zoonotic, or whatever, or lab leak. Which would you put your money on?
I think it's a combination.
Oh, that's a cop out. That's a cop out.
Yeah,
That is a total cop out.
I think it came from the lab. I don't think the bat thing is fake. I think like somehow it came out of the lab, and then the bat is maybe what like I don't know. I don't understand how zootropic viruses work, but I don't think they made that up. I think the bat has something to do with it, but
yeah.
I
they
think
took the bat's DNA in the lab and added it into the virus. Because those bats apparently that they were connected to are like live like 1,000 miles away from Wuhan. Like they're not even anywhere near.
So
But,
I think I definitely think the lab has something to do with it. What then though brings questions, and we'll probably get canceled before we even get views on this show, is who was in charge of that lab, because there is money from America tied to it.
Dude, that person is so dead and buried somewhere, and like their entire family has probably been liquidated. Like that person doesn't exist anymore.
Like, yeah, but like I'm pretty sure like American government gave money to that lab. So like, to what capacity did we enable this, or were we part of it? Was it on purpose? Was it by accident?
Well, and this is also a little interesting rhetorical thing they're doing now. You're wrong, Jeremy. We did not give money to the lab. We gave a grant to an organization that then funneled the money to Wuhan.
Yeah.
So now these idiots and assholes can get up in Congress and be like, the U.S. never funded gain of function research. It's like, yeah, you did it through a proxy.
Yeah, I love how funneling and laundering money works. It's
yeah, it's great.
It's fascinating.
Freaking great.
As long as you go through an entity, it all of a sudden is okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's hear what you got to say.
All right,
we could talk about that the whole 20 minutes.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So, this June is Pride Month, and besides all the stories of these corporations that just shill for LGBTQIA plus rights during when it's sort of convenient and it can make them some money. There was this ridiculous story of the Republicans' favorite nut job, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She proposed a piece of legislation that's also being co-sponsored vociferously by possible pedophile Matt Gaetz, that basically would ban the flying of the rainbow flag at military bases and embassies around the world. And I just think, like, look, I came from a family full of a lot of Republicans. I run in those circles, and not a single conservative or Republican voter or Trump voter or Trump supporter that I meet has anything against gay rights, gay marriage, anything. And this has been completely, fully integrated in for the most part. And sure, there's extremists and people that still don't like it, but I do not think they're the mainstream. And for these idiots to make this an issue and to try to show that they are in some way fighting this long dead and over fight is just ridiculous. And frankly, I think, if anything else, I think liberalism is seen as this dirty word, especially by those on the right. But, a true liberal is someone who believes in letting others do their thing and letting people have their liberty and expressing themselves how they see fit. And I think, I can think of nothing better than if we had our embassies in Poland and other Eastern European countries that have been cracking down on gay rights, for us to be flying a pride flag is basically just giving a giant waving middle finger to all these jerks over there that are trying to like really actually brutally oppress their homosexual and lesbian populations or trans populations. I can think of nothing more American than that and say, you know what, screw you. We have the diversity of ideas and thoughts that we know that our fellow gay citizens are part of our strength and are an asset to us. And that if we want to oppress them, we're going to shove it right in your face how little we care that they're gay. Those people are going to be picking up a rifle and shooting you if they need to. And, it's just so ridiculous to have Republicans focus on this culture war BS that I think pretty much for the most part, no one cares about anymore. It's such a fringe position.
I think a couple of things. One, Is that hypocritical of the right? I don't know.
I mean, I feel like you and I take different tacks on this. I just like the Republicans suck issue, and it's like, you guys suck. Like, this is a terrible move. And also, yes, you know what? I would say at its core, I do think it is hypocritical because the Republicans don't get to go around and saying, "Hey, we want freedom of guns, we want freedom from your laws, we want to have these things." Look, like, you know, I'm more of a sort of a libertarian in many ways at heart, and enjoying freedom means you have to give people the freedom to do things you disagree with. If you don't do that, you're a tyrant. If you're not,
yeah, you're right though. It is just Republicans suck, but that angle is actually hypocritical as well. So
absolutely.
But I feel like I'm curious, I guess, if the pulse of the Republican Party is what you say, or if it's just the Republicans you talk to might be a little bit more center of the line and like reasonable, logical. I don't know, because like I agree with you. I don't feel like that's a big issue. Like I don't understand how that many people care about that, but I think they do exist. They're just not,
look, they absolutely exist, and and you know, in a country of 330 or 50 or how many ever million people we are, you're going to have people that hold all sorts of wacky beliefs, you know. But it's talking about it. You know, is it a current through line? Like, you know, I mean, shoot, Donald Trump, when he ran, you know, there are pictures of him, like, I think, like, hugging the gay and lesbian, you know, the rainbow flag. And he had large swaths of LGBTQ supporters, at least more so compared to past Republican presidents. I mean, you had pretty strong signs that, you know, they were not, the Republican Party today does not care nearly as much about it as the Republican Party of 30 years ago. I mean, we can both agree on that. Right.
And we'll care less about it in 10 years. So we should be like forward thinking and realize like it's not a big deal. Nice. I like it. So my segment for Crypto Corner.
What you got?
I think this is cool news. It's good news. Nothing like too crazy, but Coinbase has its own debit card that you can basically use for purchases and stuff, which is like a good way to have a lot of money in crypto and still use it for purchases, like as you need, when you need. It converts it to US dollars like instantly and makes your purchase. But the big news is so that's been available, but that card is now compatible with Google Wallet and Apple Wallet. So you can put that card in your Apple Wallet, which is how a lot of people make payments these days, and can easily then pay out of your Coinbase. So that came out like a day or two ago, and instantly Coinbase shares went up. Pretty cool, and it's just great for utility of Bitcoin and crypto. I don't understand the people who say crypto is going to zero when like you have things like that coming around, like there's utility.
Yeah. So will it only let you link certain currencies to it? Like, is it only like Bitcoin or Ethereum, or could I put my, you know, shit coins?
I don't believe you can do your shit coins. I need to look into it. It's probably just Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe a couple others. Yeah. But still, one day there'll be the shit coins maybe connected. I don't know.
Look, all I know is my cummies are up 10,000 since I bought them.
Ay.
I'm rocking to the moon.
Yeah, dude. Shit's ridiculous. I don't even understand. So, relatedly, Coinbase Pro just like added Dogecoin, which like is cummies might be like a legitimate one coming to Coinbase.
Look, man, I think cummies at least have some level of utilities, as we discussed in our last one, before, like in terms of the porn market and NFTs and other stuff. Like, Dogecoin was literally built as a complete and utter joke.
Yeah,
like, it's
ridiculous.
It's nuts. It's absolutely insane.
Everything's insane, but that's really it. Not too much. Just a quick little snapshot.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I'm definitely gonna look into that because I've got some stuff floating around in Coinbase. So I guess I will take us home with horrible or hilarious. So
I can't wait.
Obviously, we are trying as a world and obviously as America to try to get as many people vaccinated as possible. Microchips or not, who cares? Let's just get these shots. And you've had Ohio has come out with a lottery program. Other states followed suit once they saw the results. And because I think at first when Ohio announced it, everyone's like, oh, well, that's stupid. You shouldn't have to pay people to like get shots. And then once they saw it working, they're like, oh,
wow.
I guess we should just pay people.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy.
West Virginia has doubled down, and I just applaud them for knowing the people that likely live in West Virginia, because in addition to giving away college scholarships, I think a $1.5 million prize, they're also giving away a custom truck and custom shotguns and custom hunting rifles, which I just say, know your audience, understand what will pull your people in.
Honestly,
I think it's hilarious.
I'm supportive of that.
Yeah, who cares?
No, some of these I do care, and I'm completely against, and I don't get it. The biggest risk, I think COVID was bad. I think it's dangerous. I believe all of that stuff. I know a lot of people don't. I do think it's a dangerous virus, and it could have been way worse too.
Yeah.
But it was mostly dangerous for unhealthy people and like people who are fat. And then we have rewards that make people fat tied to getting the vaccine. Like beer, there's like rewards for beer, donuts, like hamburgers and fries and all this stuff. And in my head, I'm like, that's literally what made COVID dangerous. So like anything besides those things should be given.
Should be better. Like it should be like gym memberships or like, supply of zinc and D3 and vitamin C.
Right. Whatever your feelings are about guns, at least they didn't help kill people with COVID. They might help kill people other ways, but they didn't kill people with COVID. Beer, alcohol, all that.
Yeah.
Fried foods.
That's garbage. It's trash.
And then we're just giving it away for free to get the vaccine, and it's like that seems just so backwards to me.
And look, I know you live a little more cleanly than me, but I love Krispy Kreme donuts, and there is, and I'm fully vaccinated, have been for maybe 2 months now, and I have never once thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to break out my vaccine card, and waddle my ass down to a Krispy Kreme and be like, give me my free donuts, sir. And I could be getting one every day if I wanted.
For the rest of the year.
For the rest of the year. And I will not do it. One, because I feel like I will be judged by the people that are giving me that donut. They're not going to be like, oh, you vaccine hero. They're going to be like, oh, okay, Tubby, here's your donut. So like, I'm just not going to play that. And it just, I don't know, it just feels so stupid and dumb. And like, I'm not going to demonstrate that I was one of the people that needed to be bribed with a goddamn donut in order to get my ass vaccinated. It's not going to do it.
What blows my mind too is there are people who are doing it. And it's like, I can't imagine being the person, no offense to anyone out there if they are, but being like, oh shit, free donuts if I get the vaccine? Like, now I'm doing it. I didn't want to get it before, but now I'm getting it.
You know what I love, and I feel like, we learned about unintended consequences anytime you talk about like economics or business school, and I guarantee you're going to see at least one person, and probably a handful or maybe a couple hundred, that bounce around to these states or that are nearby, and they're like, I'm just going to get vaccinated multiple times. And then it's going to turn out to be like, that was a really bad idea. And one shot of AstraZeneca or one shot of Pfizer, one shot of Moderna, one shot of J&J. It's like
I've joked about
terrible.
it. There's a dispensary giving out like free eighths with a shot or something, and I was like, "Yo, sign me up for 5." And it's like if
needle me up.
If you think it, someone's doing it. Like that's guaranteed.
I also guarantee there are probably people that, because they're so terrified of COVID, and whether they're just an anxious hypochondriac or because the news media broke them, that there are probably people that have gotten multiple vaccines against doctors' orders. Be like they're at their doctor. It's like, so like AstraZeneca or J&J is good and Moderna is good, so both of them together must be great, right? He's like, no, it does not work that way. Do not do that. And they're like, all right, I'm going to go do that.
You know what? I definitely agree. I never thought about it until now, though, that they should factor that into the numbers. We don't have half of people adults. There's a quarter of the population who's double vaccinated.
We're just going through those lines. It's like a roller coaster at Six Flags. You walk out the exit, just run right back around to the entrance. just like you're a little kid, just wanting to get back on as fast as
I
possible.
can't. I mean, it's happening, but whatever. We'll see what happens with that. That's hilarious.
All right, man. I feel like that's a great note to go out on.
Yeah, I can't breathe. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, bye,
See
everybody.
you guys soon.
Peace.
Peace. Oh man, that was funny.